Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tina, and today we are going to be doing a Let's Talk on the new Twilight book that just got announced today. If you don't follow any Bookish accounts on TikTok or on Instagram or on Twitter or anything, maybe you haven't heard that about 4 days ago, so on May 1st, Stephenie Meyer's website got shut down and was replaced by a countdown. The countdown was leading to May 4th, which is today, and nobody knew exactly what was coming out. I mean, there was speculation, of course, but it wasn't until this morning when we found out that her book, Midnight Sun, is coming out. So Midnight Sun isn't a new book or anything. It was supposed to be released back in 2008, but we'll get to that later. But it's basically the entire first book of Twilight told in Edward's point of view. We haven't had any new Twilight content since 2015 when the Life and Death, I think it's called. Yes, Life and Death Twilight Reimagined came out, which is basically about a gender swap between Edward and Bella. So it's the same concept, the same book, but it's only Edward was a girl, the character of Edward was a girl, and then the character of Bella was a boy. And previous to that, we had Breaking Dawn, which came out in 2012, the second movie. So we haven't had anything in years. And so finally, this book that is being released, a lot of Twihards are freaking out, and myself included, because Twilight, I don't know about you, but for me, Twilight is what got me into reading. I read a little bit before then. It was here and there, and it was a mix of contemporary and slight fantasy, but I didn't know what my niche was. I didn't know what I was into until I read Twilight, and I fell in love with fantasy and storytelling. So it's what really got me into YA. It's also how I discovered BookTube. So let's get into the book a little bit more. According to an article published by The Insider, Stephenie Meyer was actually going to publish this book back in around 2015 and 2016. But that is when the 50 Shades of Grey spin-off came out, where it was 50 Shades told in Christian Grey's point of view, and it kind of put her off, so she didn't end up releasing it. But after this book came out, the Life and Death, she was willing to get back into the world. After the whole situation that happened with Midnight Sun, she was ready to go back. If you aren't aware, Midnight Sun was supposed to be released back in 2008. It didn't because it got leaked. So she wrote a few chapters of it. I'm pretty sure she gave it to Robert Pattinson, executives that worked with the Twilight franchise. And she had a beta reader who leaked the novel, who leaked what chapters she had out so far, and she completely abandoned it. She didn't even work on it for years. I don't blame her for it by any means. It is sad we didn't get it earlier, but I no way blame Stephenie Meyer. From the beginning, when this was a possibility, when the countdown started, people speculated that this was going to be Midnight Sun that was released because of, again, the 2015 interview she did where she said that she wanted to work on the book again but was put off by the 50 Shades situation. So a lot of people on Twitter, as you can see here, were very eager for it, and they were anticipating the release, and it did get a lot of hype, and they thought that this whole countdown, it is leading to Midnight Sun. But there were other people, including myself, who were hoping for a novella featuring maybe Jacob and Renesmee, or maybe some of the other characters. I want some more Alice and Jasper content because they're my favorite. I am happy with any content at this point. Anything with them in it, I know, if it's his point of view, it's going to be a lot more Collins and a lot more of, the vampire lifestyle, and I want to read more of that. So I am 100% here for it. What do we expect from this book? What are our hopes, our dreams? What do we want to come into fruition in this book? Well, for starters, the number one thing for me that I want out of this book is to know Edward's initial reactions to Bella, because we see Bella, we know that he's very intrigued with her from the beginning because her scent is different to him and he's attracted to it in a different way, which is not normal to him. And at the same time, he can't read her mind. The only person he's ever met whose mind he can't read, he can't know everything about, know what they're thinking, know what they're feeling, is Bella. I want to know how he initially reacts. In the book, we do get Edward discussing this a little bit with Bella, where he talks about how that first day he almost could not control himself. He almost ate her. But I want to know more. I want it from his point of view. Like, I want to see his thought process when that was happening. I also really want to know those weeks where Edward was not in school because of Bella after that initial day where he said he went hunting and he went to go see friends, which I think in the last book we get to see those characters. They were like their cousins that lived further north. Also, I want to know more about the Colin dynamic because the books are told in Bella's point of view. We do get to interact with the rest of the Collins when it's her doing so, but we don't get to see like the family aspect before she's introduced. And I know from the first book we find out that Edward lately had been very cold with the rest of the Collins, and he like started distancing himself a little bit. But I want to see like what that looks like. I want to see more again of Alice and Jasper. Alice and Edward's dynamic is very interesting, and I want to see how she reacts to him and Bella because she saw it happen, and Edward saw that future through Alice's mind when he read it. So I want to see his initial reactions to that. Also, just in general, want to see all of our side characters and Edward like reading their minds, like commenting on them in his own head. I feel like Midnight Sun can be very entertaining. Bella was definitely a bland character, and I feel like Edward, because of his abilities, his magic, in the first book especially, we can relate to him in a different way than we couldn't in the rest of the series because it wasn't told in his point of view. We know that when Edward found Bella, when she was in the alleyway, he was reading people's minds, and he kind of found her through that. So he would kind of like read it and see like in their memories them seeing her and then follow her. I want to see that scene so much in his point of view and like what his thought process was. And I know he says he wanted to kill those guys, and I strongly do agree that he wanted to kill those guys, but I want to see it from his point of view. I want to see what it would look like and what he was thinking and how he was thinking it. I just think it would be very interesting. I also want some more Edward backstory. More backstory of all of the characters. I know we do get some throughout. I want to see more of how they all came together and some like dialogue and some scenes. Oh my gosh, if you got some scenes of them just like interacting and just remembering like their past. And I want more of that. I also want to see what their dynamic is when Bella's not there, because they're all in the first few novels very restrained around her, which of course they are, but I want to see when they can just like lay back and like what they do at night and all that kind of stuff. I just want to know more about the Cullens' life, so I'm very interested in that. But that is it for today's video. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more of me, I'm a book talker, so I do TikTok, but I make content about books. I will link that in the description, but basically it's at tina.fandoms. I'm also on Instagram and Twitter, so it's a bookstagram as well. I mostly post my TikTok videos, or a few of the TikTok videos that I post there, I'll post on Instagram. And I'm on Twitter as well, but mostly I just retweet like the 100 related stuff. But if you're interested in that, please feel free to follow me. And thank you for watching. Have a nice day.